And we're live.
All right.
Hi, Amanda. Well, thanks for coming in. Today we are going to, I think last week we talked, and this week I want to see if there's anything you're not happy about in your life right now. Is there anything that you want to see change that we can talk about? Maybe we can implement some kind of, some solutions as far as you meeting some goals.
I think a goal for me right now would be I really need to start saving money instead of spending it. That's a big issue for me, and a goal I definitely want to work towards.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Yeah, for me, and I mean, It's not creating huge problems because I still try and refrain, and I know the importance of saving. But I feel like my fiance would probably be a little bit happier if he's noticed that I wasn't spending as much.
Right.
Um, and then when things roll around like Christmas and the car breaks down, that sort of stuff, it might be less stressful. And I think an overall goal would be to create less stress, but that's a good, like, a small one to get there because it's a huge contributor for me.
Right. Um, yeah, so it sounds like saving some money and possibly having some less stress in the house would be a little bit more beneficial for you.
Yeah,
Um, do you have you ever had a budget made before? Do you know what a
I
budget looks
haven't.
like?
I've seen like examples online and stuff because you always see stuff about
Right.
like how to save more money, these 10 easy steps that can help you out, and budget is definitely on there. And there's been times where like I write down all of my bills, I write down what I think things are going to cost or I should be spending, and when it comes down to it, that sort of just all goes out the window. And
Right. It's sticking to the budget is the hard part.
yeah, it really is. And for me, my problem is that I have nothing growing up, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like I need to be able to buy nicer things, and so
Right.
maybe I'm like trying to make up for that. I don't know, but it definitely is making a difference financially.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to, you definitely have to sacrifice, but you also got to be able to identify your needs
Yeah.
from your wants.
Well, and for me, trying to figure out the difference between a need and a want, I think is
Right.
my hard part. Because
Right.
sometimes I really want something, and it feels like maybe it's a need when it probably isn't.
Right. The want kind of overweighs or overpowers the need.
It does, and impulsive shopping online is an issue for me as well.
Yeah,
It's
I'm in that same boat.
it's so easy when like your information's already saved, especially if it's a store you like online or something, and all you have to do is hit that one click buy button.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
yeah, and they just make it so convenient, and it's almost like falling into a trap that's already set up for
Well,
you.
maybe you need to. I mean, it might be. Um, you ever thought about possibly taking yourself off of those, or taking them off your favorites? So it's a little bit less accessible for you to get to, or
Yeah, it might be beneficial to take my credit card information that's like already sitting on there off.
yeah,
Makes it a little bit more complicated to make a purchase, I guess.
right. Because then you have to like go and dig it out and.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that's difficult for me is that like my fiance is not involved in our finances whatsoever, and I've tried like a million times to get him involved, but he wants something to do with it because it's
As,
complicated. And
as far as like when you say involved, like a joint account or
well,
like
we have a
something in
joint
joint
account.
savings.
We have a joint account. We
Hmm.
don't have separate accounts, and we both put our money in there, and I pay all the bills. I make sure everything is functioning, and unfortunately, that gives me the opportunity to spend as well. And I've tried to.
Hmm.
He's made suggestions about being more involved when it comes to what we're spending. I've made suggestions, and he likes the idea. So do I. But when it comes down to it, and he comes home at night, and I'm like, oh well, let's pay this, or oh this, and we're at this amount. Let's do this.
Right.
He doesn't want to hear it.
Right.
So.
Does he? Is there a lot of like, well, this is how much I made, and this is mine, and this is yours, and I.
Never.
Oh, okay.
Everything in our house is ours.
No, that's good.
We don't look at it as like this is your house, this is my car, this is my money. It's ours,
Right.
and we share everything.
Well, have you expressed to him the same feelings as far as like, if you can get the financial aspect of your guys' household under control, and that the stress levels down, that perhaps I don't know what the relationships right now, if it's on the rocks, or if there's a lot of stress with dealing with
No,
oh,
I mean, there's always that, because he's a roofer, so it's seasonal.
right,
Every summer he makes more. We have to budget ourselves for winter. And
right,
there's always that time in the year where we're like, oh, have we saved enough? We really need to buckle down to this point. And I think it would be a lot less stressful for him
right.
just to have more money saved.
Hmm.
But he also he doesn't want anything to do with it, so he just assumes everything is going to be fine because I take care of it, which it always is. We always make things work. But
Hmm.
if we had a bigger safety net, there might be more comfort.
Got it. So it sounds like you might, it would be more beneficial in helping you to get him on board with you to help
Hold me
control.
accountable.
Right. Yeah. As far as holding you accountable and to make sure that you're getting these bills paid,
Yeah.
and money is going to or being allocated to the places that it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and as far as like making a budget, is that something you're opposed to, or
No,
you've
it's
been really
probably
trying?
something we
Okay.
could. It might be a good opportunity to get him to sit down with me and come up with a budget together.
Okay.
And maybe if I could somehow give him some responsibility and help get him in there somehow, just so
Right.
that he can hold me accountable.
Okay, well, this all sounds pretty good. It sounds like we're on the right track. So, from on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being most confident that you're, or least confident, I should say, about making this change, and 10 being you're most confident, where would you be at?
I think right now I'd probably say it was at a 5. Like, this is something I'd like to see happen, and I know I have the ability to make it happen. It's just like when you're comfortable and the stress. I'm more motivated when it comes down to like worrying, but when
Right.
I'm not worried, the motivation's not really there.
Right. All right. Well, that sounds good. So it's, it sounds like you're pretty confident. That's why you wouldn't have picked a 1 or a 2
Yeah.
or anything like that. And what do you think we can do to possibly get that number to increase to 7 or an 8?
Well, I know after Christmas rolls around and we've spent more money and he's bringing less money in because usually things die down in his profession then, it'll probably, just because of my stress level, jump up to that point eventually. But I need to find some way to kind of level that out and just keep the stress level at a good level and my motivation to save more.
Mhm.
So I think that in itself will probably help. But
Yeah.
getting him involved and being held accountable would probably jump it up to 6 or 7.
Sounds good. Yeah, having a less stress is, I could really think would help you in the long run in anything. So,
Yeah, very true.
well, I hope when we meet next week that you've made some headway in this and that it's successful for you.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.